Oh, look. There's algae in the pool.
How fun.
What is happening, Nerd Detectives? Welcome back to another episode of Nerds at Night. How is everybody doing out in podcast land? So good to hear from y'all. I'm so happy to be here. Let's just get right into it. You guys know what we're talking about today. We're talking all about... First of all, I just want to apologize for being a little bit late on the game. With you guys know, I hate putting out Friday episodes. It's just not a thing I enjoy doing. But Monday, before we get into everything, you guys know how this goes, right? We're gonna do the recaps and everything. But Monday, I got into a car accident. Hence the little the little fingy's gone. Yeah, it's actually my knuckle. I bruised my knuckle in a car accident. Also, I have this nasty. I don't know how I gotta turn this way. Nasty bruise. This is not, we can't lick that off. That's not coming off. That's a bruise from the airbags, ladies and gentlemen. That is it goes all the way around too. Like, ew, it's not fun. But somebody looked at it and they're like, I wish I didn't see that. I'm so sorry, but I got into a car wreck. Totaled my car. It's quite horrible. Somebody just pulled out in front of me. I ended up hitting them. They did not have the right of way. They had a stop sign. I had a clear street. They were trying to cross the street. Y'all, if you can't make it, just don't miscalculate, please. It then insurance gets involved and injuries occur. I'm mostly okay. I feel like Brendan Fraser when he's like, I've been held together by super glue and duct tape at this point. That's kind of how I feel this week. My arm is not in great condition. My shoulder, my neck, it's not, none of that is fun. Like this whole lower region on my back, neck, shoulder, like it doesn't I've been dealing with that all week, y'all. So I apologize for getting this out late. You guys understand how those things go. Real life happens, and I just want to be real with y'all. I'm a real person, you know. Yeah, I was just on my way home from lunch. I go to the gym at lunch. I was on my way home 2 blocks away. It happens. Even the gym owner drove by. He was like, you okay, man? We're real good friends. Shout out to my buddy Marcus. He's a great guy. But like, yeah, life happens, and what can you do? I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy I wasn't more damaged than like my face or chest region, like, you know, the airbag. That's all airbag. That's literally why my arm looks like that. My arm just took the brunt of all the airbag because I drive with my I'm a right-handed person, which is I work with I work in tech, you know, so I work on a mouse and keyboard a lot. It kind of interfere every time I take this off. It's quite painful, right? But yeah, I drive with my left arm, and it literally ate the brunt of the airbag from the steering wheel, and then the airbags. So my car's totaled, y'all. It's horrible, but we're dealing with. I got a rental today, so we're back in business, and I think we're gonna be on the up and up, you know. But yeah, we're okay. Life's gonna be okay. Things are gonna be okay. If you want to make your boy feel better, somebody wrote about this in the comments. Let's go to this real quick. You know, because times are, you know, they get a little tough and you just sometimes you need to relax a little bit. I decided tonight we're going to, you know, relax with a little bit of whiskey. You guys know I had a whiskey last week. Which one did I have? I had the Peerless Rye last week. But you know what I figured I'm going to do for every episode as we go into each episode? And I promise this has to do with the point I was just making. For every episode we're going to get into, I'm going to pick a whiskey that's that year age statement. What do I mean by that? So what I'm drinking tonight is an OKI straight rye whiskey. This is actually, I don't know if I can, it's a 7-year. It's a 7-year aged whiskey. So I figure we do a 7-year whiskey for episode 7. We'll do an 8-year whiskey for episode 8, 9-year, 10. You guys get what's going to happen for these next few. we're going to have some very special whiskeys going on. But I had somebody in the comment, I think it was that 90s girl. She asked, she was looking for a glass like this for a husband. I think I have one more. I have to find it. I have to find it somewhere. I have boxes behind me full of all kind of merch. But what I do have are these little glasses right here. And you guys can drink whatever you want to. You want to drink a little shot of water, you want to have some wine. You're a brandy fan, you're a non-alcoholic fan, you're a whiskey fan. I think these would be amazing for you. These are going for $6 right there. And just if you want one, I think I have 4 or 5 more. I've got more coming in. If you'd like one, just let me know. Write a comment and then just write in somewhere in there, like, give me your Venmo and I'll just shoot you a Venmo request. And then, I'm trying to find out how to, I'll do a Venmo request. And if we do it privately, just send me your address. I'll send you the Venmo request. I think the shipping on it's like, I sent one out. I think it was like $2, $2.50. It was not a lot of money. You got to wrap them a little bit. You don't have to put them in a full box though. You know what I mean? That's sort of the good news. So yeah, just pay for the glass, pay for the shipping. I'll get it out to you. You'll have a little Nerds at Night glass. I think that'd be really fun. And if there's more than just the, 4 or 5 that I have, I'm getting more in. I continuously get more, and I sell them to friends and, family and people. I want this or I want that. So just let me know if you. I think that would make me feel great just to know you guys are, that's some cool. I don't ask for, Patreon. I don't do Patreon here. Maybe I should, but we have a subscription in YouTube. I don't ask for all that like that. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. We're not crossing that bridge today. But if you guys want a cool glass and support the channel, support your boy, and pour one with me as we get closer and closer to the end of this season, I think that'd be really cool. But just send some good vibes. If you guys are prayer people, cool. Send some prayers, send some good thoughts, whatever you're into. And just hope this, the season passes through. We're going to make it through. I got a rental. We'll get a new car soon. It'll be fine. That's what insurance is for, right? But you didn't come here to listen to my life story, but I thank y'all for tuning in and listening and letting me vent a little bit. It's been a crazy week. We're talking about episode 7, and there's a lot that went down in this episode. A lot with the trio on an individual level with the other billionaire trio, and I think that there was some really fun and cool moments. I also like that we got a lot of stuff right from our theory video, right? Whether it's about the amounts on the paper didn't have anything to do with the game that was being played. Those were bids. Those were all bids. Maybe they were a little bit low, but like they were bidding for the casino, for the right to be able to place their bid to the casino. We got that right? We got it right that like Bash could have been the one to wipe all the content, but only and not because they said it in the last episode, but we got the reason right. Like he was like, I can't be associated with y'all, right? We definitely got that right. Like in that theory video, man, like there was just some good stuff, and I appreciate all the support. I put out 3 videos last week. I'm sorry I could not do the same this week just because of I've been on the phone so much, all the Anytime Minutes. I mean, if you're old enough to know Anytime Minutes, I have just done all the Anytime Minutes for day and evening. It's been crazy, but we got a lot of stuff right from our theory video that I was super excited. As soon as something happened, I was like, oh, we said that. We said that. We called that out. We called that out. And then y'all called out the fact, I forget who it was. There's been many of y'all, though, called out the fact that Camilla was the one who placed the, what was it, like the offer for Oliver's place? Like somebody's like, there was one person and then a few other people said it. I was just like, oh, I think I wrote like, oh, that would be interesting. And my, oh my, it really was. So yeah, there was just a lot of good stuff in this episode that we got right. Was it my favorite episode? No, but I thought it was funner than the last 2. I definitely laughed when there was some hardcore cussing coming along. Like that was fun. And then our gang finds the finger. I just thought this was better than the last two episodes, bar none. And then we get creepy little Aljon like that. Who invited that kid? Like, that kid's so creepy. This line from Charles got me. It got me real good. This one right here. Let's cut to a clip.
Is your dad home, or maybe he's your grandpa?
Or son?
If that's the plot twist of this horror movie.
Like that whole bit is hilarious. But yeah, I had fun with this episode. Wasn't an all-time great, but also it was a nice one to get us moving to the next place. And then it ended, it reminded me of the ending of what was it, episode 4 in season 4, when they come up upon Bev Mellon and she has a gun to him, and you're like, oh shit, somebody about to get shot. Right? Like it kind of gave me that vibe, but it gave me that vibe knowing damn well you're like, whoever holds a gun before it's episode 9 or 10, like, hey, they ain't the one. They ain't the one. So we know what's happening, I think, on our suspect board as we get there. But let's talk about all this. First of all, you guys know we're going to do a quick recap of this episode. We'll get into some clues. I've got 4 comments this week. I know, again, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to keep this episode a little bit shorter just to get this out to y'all. I hadn't been able to do a lot more beyond that. And you guys know I hate not reading a lot of y'all's comments. And I do try to respond to every single one. If I have time, maybe Friday or Saturday or Sunday, I'll try to get an episode out in the next few days where I'm just reading some comments. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I don't want to make any guarantees. But I just know that I feel really bad for. I think I have 4 comments. I just know I feel really bad for only reading those 4 comments. So we're gonna do the comments though, and then we'll get into our suspect board. And there's some shaking up, and there's some theories that I want to get into that I think will really. Man, it's going to be some real stuff to think about, right? So before we get into all that, as you know, go ahead, comment ahead of time, comment now as you're watching this, right? Say hello, all that good stuff. Those help out. And there's a little hype feature too. If you see the comments and you're doing this from your phone, if you swipe where it has comments and you see the word hype, this video, just know it's something new for the kids that they're doing. But if you hype this video, it really does help sort of get it out into the algorithm more. And of course, share or tell your friends, or if you're not already subscribed, like just hit it. You've probably been watching the last 2 and coming back to this channel. Just hit subscribe. Life's gonna be so much easier if you just do it, right? So yeah, we'll do all that. But before we get into it, let me just cheers, y'all. I'm so glad we could be here for another week. Overall, I'm safe. I'm in great condition to be able to at least do this episode, minus some little bang ups and bruises and bumps. I'm so glad to be here with you for another week. So cheers to all of y'all. And on that note, let's get right into the recap for this episode. Our episode starts off with Oliver being lost in the woods, finding people to ask for help and seemingly frantic for his life. We are then taken back in time where the trio interview the mayor. He informs them Bashsteed may be involved with the murders, which makes the trio curious, and they decide to go to his estate to investigate him. Upon arriving, they meet his creepy son, and while sleuthing, they end up getting caught by the billionaires. The billionaires are simply playing games and decide to take a break. Each member of the trio follows a member of the billionaire trio to get more info. Charles finds out Bash has removed some security footage, and Mabel finds out from Jay that the billionaires were playing for a much bigger prize during the night of Lester's death. The trio challenge the billionaires to a game, and if they win, they get the info the billionaires are hiding. Oliver decides to leave before it's game time, and the billionaires bring the heat when it's their turn to play. Mabel and Charles remember Oliver's tidbits of storytelling and end up prevailing to get the win. The billionaires admit they were playing for a chance to get their casino proposal bid chosen. Additionally, Mabel exposes another prize for the billionaires, that being the missing finger the trio had stolen. Next, we see Oliver coming upon the couple we saw in the opening shot of the episode, a true full circle moment, and he asks for help to try and find his friends. Back at the mansion, Jay informs Mabel she's in danger if she has the finger, and that the billionaires paid to get the finger. He ultimately lets Charles and Mabel go, and Oliver comes up with a game plan to save his friends. As Charles and Mabel are trapped trying to escape, Oliver saves the day and rescues everyone on a lawnmower. While regrouping back at Charles, the trio is visited by Camilla White, who asks for the finger and then threatens the crew with a gun until they give her the finger. She then admits she was the one who made an offer on Oliver's apartment and is planning to turn the Arconia into a casino. That was a recap. But let's get into some clues for right now. Our first clue is the mayor comes on the podcast, and once Romy leaves the room, the mayor throws major suspicion on Bastide. Detectives, we know when we see someone who does that, it's like the playground rules of farting. He who smelt it, dealt it. So let's keep an eye on the mayor. Additionally, though, the mayor does inform us of Bash's under-the-table dealings and informs us Bash is the biggest donor for the police. Is the mayor's plan to have the trio take down the billionaire so he can have more power and not get his hands dirty? Also, what's Romy's deal? We find out she is Bastide's niece, and we do hear her talk.
We should go ribbon cutting at the New York City Ballet.
But does her voice match this?
What is this again?
A study on New York City doormen.
Oh.
Was this Romy making the doorman documentary? And if so, what was the reason? Another thing to notice is Bash has a cryo chamber. Was this perhaps used to hold Nikki's body? Next, we notice Camila makes a slight overt comment to Oliver, insinuating she was the one who made him an offer on his place. We'll come back to this in a bit. We next see Charles approach Bash and accuse him of being Priscilla, but Bash doesn't confirm that was him. So in the event it wasn't him, who do we think could have been pretending to be Priscilla? Our next clue is we find out why the billionaires were actually in the Arconia the night of Lester's death. And we do indeed confirm it was the right to place a proposal bid to open the casino, an idea we basically figured out in our theory video. We also find out Bash did scrub footage from the Arconia that night in an effort to cover up his own tracks. Again, an idea we called out in our theory video. But did he also edit Lester's footage and the footage of Charles's front door? Or was this somebody close to him that knows how to do this task? Also, we find out the billionaires are hiding and playing games to win the finger our trio had stolen from them. We also find out the billionaires paid to get the finger and now they want it back. But who did they pay to get the finger and why is it so important? Who around the trio in the Arconia is in the pocketbooks of the billionaires? And again, why is this finger so important a billionaire would use a gun to rob our trio for it? We learn it decides the fate of the person whose bid is accepted, but why? Who does it belong to? And finally, we learned Camilla was the one who placed an offer on Oliver's place in an effort to buy out all of the Arconia and turn it into a casino, a theory many fans suggested in the comments last week. Y'all, those were all the clues I found, but if you found any more clues, any lines, anything that stuck out to you, anything that happened in this episode where you can look back on the other 6 and be like, ooh, I think this connects to this, anything that you find, please let me know in the comments, anything that sticks out to you. I want to know because I love formulating my own theories with y'all's, as I think a lot of the time that is sort of the what do they say at work? It's synergy, right? That's what a horrible word, but it is sort of the vibe. We come together and then we're able to connect these ideas together and come up with a better idea that actually ends up being closer to what happens by the end of the show. So let me hear from y'all. Would love to hear from y'all. And speaking of hearing from y'all, what a great segue, right? If I don't say so myself, let's get in to see what y'all had to say in this last week. Let's get into some comments. Our first comment comes in from 117 Derek. Thank you for the multiple videos. I know it takes so much of your time, but it's also appreciated. I love hearing everyone's theories because they get my little gray cells going. So doing a Q&A video just before the next episode is good prep work. You and Matt and Jess and Miss Everything is Fine and Becca Coblin and Scene Invaders are my Omit B go-to sites. Sorry, Ivan. Speaking of, Matt just dropped a theory video Friday morning that embraces a casino theory, but you had it first. Second, if you count Miss Everything. Shout out to you, Derek. Thank you for shouting out some of your favorite content creators here. And sorry, Ivan. It's okay. It's okay. Ivan is still growing his channel, and that's perfectly fine. I don't think he'll take offense to it at all. And you know, he's always got a place here. I love that dude. And dude, you're right. Like Miss Everything did have that theory first. She brought it up. She brought up the point of the casino thing, but didn't go into it enough. I even went though to her Paige and told her I was going to shout her out, and I did on that video. If you notice, I shouted her out and I blasted her I think in the description. And if you're not following her, please do. But she mentioned the fact that like this could all be tied to the casino and the billionaires, and like it was she sort of touched on it and kind of went to some other points. But as soon as I heard it, I was just like, yeah, that is the point I was thinking of last night, that I was too sort of tired to record a point on. And heads up to her. I mean, she is in Portugal, so she kind of could watch the episode, record it. They're in a different time zone. When Matt and Jess do it, and I wake up, and it's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock where I'm at Central Time, and they have an episode out. I'm like, geez, Louise, you guys been up? Like, it baffles me. They're such hard workers. And Becca Coblin, I watch her stuff too. There's another channel, Scene Invaders. I like their stuff. I reached out to them, and hopefully they can come on and we can do some collab stuff. But there's another channel too. Homegirl, she's got like a cat, and she's got like a little point system, Thunderbolt. So if you guys know who I'm talking about, put her in the comments. She's fun. She's fun to listen to. Yeah, I can appreciate all the content creators you love. And probably y'all listen to a lot of this. If I listen to all of them, y'all probably listen to at least 2 or 3 of them. I also love the Little Grace Cells comment. Such a Ed Cupo comment right there. I love it. I love anything Ed Cupo. But yeah, I also, again, I think the encapsulating of this, like, thank you so much. It did take up a lot of time last week, and there was time this week that I didn't have to be able to put forth. But next week and then the week after, I'll have a lot more time. Hopefully no more car accidents for your boy. But I will say this, you guys get the heads up on what's about to happen. There are some collab episodes coming after episode 8 with some cool channels. I don't want to give away. I'd rather you just see. One of them may be maybe my favorite channel that actually got me influenced. If you guys know the answer for that, write it in the comments. What's the channel I was influenced by to do all of this? I still follow and I highly recommend, and they put out amazing stuff every week. If you guys know that channel, put it in the comments, because they might be coming on and we might be talking about some predictions going into episode 9 and 10. So yeah, thank you so much, man, for the love right here, Derek. I really appreciate it. That makes me feel, especially the way this week's been, man. This is very uplifting. So good to hear from you. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you for this comment. Our next comment comes in from F. Bueller 13. He says, you may not get this before your theory video, but wanted to share it while it was fresh. I have a theory, but bear with me as it's a long one. The finger is said to be the key to contract for the new casino. The mayor is at the mercy of Bash because of the campaign contributions. What if Bash forced a finger to be cut off on the mayor's hand, and it would be held as collateral for the casino bid? So the game the billionaires are playing is bidding on the finger to have the power over the mayor. With Bash's connections, he could provide the mayor with temporary replacement until the deal or the game was finished, or promised to reattach it. But Nikki and/or Lester took the finger and held it in the shrimp. This way, they were hoping the shrimp would make it to Oliver and start the investigation in case anything happened to him. If you remember, they said there were rope burns on Nikki's wrist and ankle, so I suspect he was tortured for the location of the finger. I think Jay used the cleaver that was used to cut the finger to kill Nikki when they didn't get what they want. As Camilla said, Jay was a sore loser and would throw a fit. The mayor mentioned Romy being so fast, so I suspect she was the one who chased down Lester, which is why Bash scrubbed the security footage. I think this all comes down to having something the mayor needs, his finger, to approve the bid, as they all have different bids and are not working together. Sorry this was long, but love the reactions and love to hear your thoughts. Oh man, this was a great thought. Actually, I love this whole thing going on. I love this whole theory. Yeah, I love a lot going on with this theory. I don't think, though, it's the mayor's finger. And we'll get to why I don't think that when we get to our suspect board. Just because he's got all of his fingers, he could have a fake finger. And if they showed a fake finger, like, by golly, you got me, but like, I don't see it being his finger, because we've seen his hands, unless they do this like ridiculous job. I mean, and if they've done it before, right? I'll always go back to Marshall and the shoe print and the shoes he had. They didn't match. Like this is just, no, it just doesn't work. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. There are things the show gets wrong and they expect you to go along with it. Maybe the finger might be one thing. I don't think it is the mayor's finger, but I do think you're on the right track of exactly what I'm thinking. The finger belongs to somebody or to show representation, and they need to get it to the mayor. Why do they need to get it to the mayor? I couldn't tell you, but that's who they got to get it to. Like it's like a rat race. You got to get the MacGuffin and give it to the person. But I've been telling y'all I've been saying this all season. I'm going to say it for the umpteenth time. The finger is the center of this entire investigation. I have said this the whole time. And I don't know if y'all took me serious or y'all just thought I kept just saying it because it's something to say, or I wanted it on a t-shirt or a bumper sticker. Nah, the finger is literally at the center of this entire investigation. When you find out who owns the finger, it's going to crack the whole case. Oh, the whole thing is going to make sense. And I do love this whole, like, they maybe tortured Nikki for the location of the finger. Perhaps, I think he was tied up like shortly after he died, or like, right before he died. They're like, let's just plunge a cleaver into you. Man, Jay being the one, though, is interesting. Let's get to the suspect board with that. There's a lot of good stuff that I want to get to when we get to the suspect board, but there's a lot of good stuff that's called out here. So I really like this. And let me see if there's anything else. Lester maybe trying to get the finger to the crew by putting it on the shrimp. I really like that message. That would have been a cool, one of the last things he could do before he died. Not only a fun thought, but like that would have been, wow. You're like, dang, he really was trying with his last few moments to just like help the crew crack the case. And if that was the case, again, the finger's at the center. He knows that they'll figure it out because they're just like, they're so smart, but also they just happen to fall forward a lot of times. So yeah, that's a good thought right there, F. Bueller 13. I had to read that. I think I even wrote on there. I was like, dude, I got to read this on the show. It's a very good thought right there. Our next comment comes in from Kenya 1326. She says, hi, Blake. I have a wild and long pitch. The mayor is working with the mob. Sophia was telling the truth. Nikki didn't have mob ties and will turn out to be a nice guy with flaws. Mayor Tillman is trying to use the mob money to buy the casino. He has police and firefighters in his pocket helping to cover up things. And the mob is doing the dirty work. I think Romy will end up being the person who gives the mayor up to her trio because she's always with them, but is never noticed. She'll be the staff person that the rich people forgot was in the room while doing illegal things. I think the billionaires need the mayor to approve the plans in the city so they don't want it to be known he was the last bird, quote unquote, but they may not know he's part of the bidding for the casino. I think Nikki was killed so he would no longer run the casino, and Lester was a witness to the murder, then was killed. Just throwing that out there, LOL. Kenya, there's a lot going on there, and I like it. I do agree that, like, I think we're going to find out Nikki wasn't like the mob guy that we all think he is. It's going to fall on somebody else. I do love that Mayor Tillman is trying to use mob money to buy the casino. But what we're now finding out is that the billionaires were the ones who are trying to buy the casino. And I think he's the one who has to approve it. I think that that's what they're pointing to. What's interesting in this episode is he points the finger so hard to the billionaires and to Bash. And you're like, bro, like you're pushing the buttons pretty hard here, fella. Like you're making us try to like fall for it and like not like these folks already. We already don't like them. We don't need another reason. And when you're doing it this far in the season, it just makes the mayor look so suspicious. Like if we hadn't already, if it wasn't already on our list, and that might all be on purpose, right? I think it might be on purpose that maybe he didn't kill nobody, but like maybe he's like really like pulling string. Like they guys think they're so good at playing games, and he's playing like a big game, right? Like that would be kind of cool, right? He didn't kill nobody, but like he's like, pulling strings and making this happen, making moves. I'd kind of like that a little bit more than him being the killer, if you know what I mean. And I do like Romy being like sort of this like, oh, well, let me tell you what happened and how this happened. Because I wouldn't like to see her as a killer, like quite honestly, because we saw like who was Cinna Canning's Becky, whatever her name was, in season 2 when she was like, I don't want to see that shit again. I don't see that shit again. Like, that's just, no, I'm not here for it. And I do agree with you, though, too, that like Nicky was killed because he couldn't run the casino. And like, he had to die. Nicky had to die. Lester had to die. Everything having to do with the old casino, they got to die because they're not going to get paid off. Like, Nicky knows that like the casino makes money. Why would he give that up? Like, he's got to die. Like, he just got to go. You got to go. Like, you're not okay with everything that's about to be. Maybe they try to put him in the deal and he's like, no, I'm not with this. That's crazy. What do you mean? And then they're like, well, nix it, you're done. And Lester's like, dude, why do you I saw you kill him. And they're like, go get him. Whoever went to go chase him, like, got him too, like, it's horrible. But there's some good stuff in here that I completely agree with. But also, too, this could be completely true. And I could just be completely like, oh, off my rocker. But I do think if we're combining the ideas that are in the comments that we have in our theory video, there's a lot to pick and poke here that we can all like sort of put together that will get us to the actual truth, especially from this was 5 days ago. So we now have new information from this latest episode. This was before the latest episode. So I'd love to hear your thought, Kenya, after this, returning to this, and how it's changed and what you think about this compared to what you know now and how that's changed. So let me know, Kenya. Let me know in the comments what you think, okay? And our last comment comes in from Jacaranda Flowers. After hearing what you said about the killer appearing by episode 4, I'm even more convinced now that Teddy is the murderer. There's a reason I picked this one, because I think this so lovely and elegantly sets us up for a great segue into our suspect board. So let's get right to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is our suspect board. And I did it this way because there's a reason for it. There's somebody we're leaving off the board right now. But because of our last comment, we're going to have to put him on the board. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Teddy Demas. And I'm going to go ahead and put him in maybe. And hear me out. I want to talk about the finger solely. And let's just dig right into it, right? There's only a limited amount of characters that this finger could belong to, I think, right? I think this has to belong to somebody that we know, that we met. It doesn't have to, though, right? This does not have to belong to anybody who's on this board. The finger, for all we know, could belong to some off-board character that we've never met, that we don't know about, and this finger is sort of like this like trophy that's like, moving along from person to person and tradition to tradition, right? Like, I don't know, that sounds kind of morbid and sick, but I'm just saying, like, that this could, I want to explore before I get to my own theory. It could be this thing. Now, why I don't think it's this thing, though, why I don't think it's this trophy that's been going around for years or months at a time, is because we have the cut marks on the casino table of probably where this finger was cut off. Now, who cut the finger off and whose finger is it? Those are two separate questions. As we know, before we added Teddy Demas to this board, we can kind of keep a track of everybody's finger, except for Jay, who I'm going to tell you, I still think he's faking it. I still think he's faking it just to try and look for the finger, just to try and make it look like, hey, I lost a finger. Can we? I mean, he said it in episode 4, right? He was like, so we lost a finger. So have you seen it? I'd like to have my finger back, bro. That's not even your finger. Yeah, you'd like to have the finger back so that way you can place a bid for your casino. That's what you like it for. It's not because it's yours, right? The only person I could like legitimately think about, now you see where I'm going with this, that I could legitimately think about would have, kind of a long finger. It kind of looks, not to be any sort of crazy, it just kind of looked like a more girthier, like manly finger. And I was like, shit, what if Teddy's missing a finger? We saw Teddy in the season. I don't know if he's a killer, but he might be missing a finger. We don't know. We don't know where this guy is. But I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to come back. You don't just bring Nathan Lane one time in a season when he's already been in previous seasons and he's in there, more than once type thing. I think that was his finger. This is where we're gonna get crazy theory time. I think that was his finger. Why do you need to give him the finger? Because maybe ultimately he controls some part of the Arconia that like nobody really owns. Like, yeah, maybe Nikki owns the casino in there, but there might be some sort of power play that Teddy Demas owns, whether it's like a floor of, apartments or more than one apartment. And you need his buy-in before you get everything else, before you get all the dominoes knocked down. You need his buy-in. But why, like, then logically, like, well, why cut a finger off to make this whole, like, he cuts a finger off? Like, well, why would he just do that? That part I don't know, right? I haven't figured all this out yet. But whoever that finger belongs to, they want it to give their blessing for, having the casino in the Arconia. But it seems like not only that, like it's like to have a casino period. Like that wasn't just it. But I just think logically, like the only person that we've seen or that we've seen / not seen that could be missing a finger, and we don't know because he's not been on screen, is Teddy Demas. So I'm going to put him there as our missing finger person. I'm going to put him in maybe, not because I think he actually did a crime, but like I think it's actually his finger, and like for some reason they cut it off. Maybe to cut him in the deal. Maybe to cut him on the deal. They were like, hey, this is what you got to lose. Right? I don't know. I don't know how this works. I don't know how crime works. Right? I'm not a criminal. I don't know how they think, But I'm going to put him there. We're also going to make a few other moves right now. But let me pour some whiskey first. That's good. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do real quick. Mayor's looking awfully sus. I don't want to move him. He still needs to be in there. The billionaires mentioned paying a lot of money for the finger. Somebody went into Charles' room, and it wasn't this damn Lester robot. He didn't steal. That doesn't mean he didn't kill nobody. It just means I don't think Lester. You don't have to pay a robot. Shit. Like, you don't have to pay a robot money. What a robot going to do with money? Let's just think about this. The robot didn't steal the finger. A human stole, a person of bone and flesh has stole this finger from the room. And the only two people that stick out to me are Randall and Thee. We know Thee was there. Why would she give herself up as like, oh, 2:30, I was there? Maybe because she knows the footage is going to be scrubbed in the first place, right? Like, oh, you're going to see me there, but you won't see me going inside. That means she would have to be working with Bash. That's how that works, ladies and gentlemen. Unless she is telling the truth and it is Randall. Either way, they're not moving. They're going to stay there. Sophia Ketchamilio is still going to stay there. You know who's going to move, though? Obviously, you can go all the way down. Camilla White, probably not. Like I said, you don't pull a gun on our trio before episode 9 and 10 and not be, you can't be the killer. You're done. Okay, good. Oh, you're not a very nice person, but you're definitely not the killer. I think the one that the fans are talking about as we're still on highly suspicious, though, is Romy. I would not like this. I'm going to leave her there, but it's not because I like it. Not because I like this idea either. I don't like the idea of the assistant doing it again. Like, whatever her name was in episode, or whatever her name was in season 2, right? I don't like that. The Sydney Canning's little assistant part. I don't like that. I don't like that they'd return to that. I also don't like, I've heard the theory, oh, the Lester robot, he went crazy. I like how that's a theory now. And if you listen to like episode, I think it was episode 4, when I moved Lester into highly suspicious, I talked about it. Might have even episode 5, episode 4 or 5. I put Lester, the robot, up there. And I was like, what if he went crazy? Oh, what if like Bash controlled him? So he technically didn't kill people and bad programming or whatever. And I was like, I also would hate that theory. If you don't remember, somebody look it up and like tell people. But like, I like how that's a theory now. I like how we set the trend for it now. We already talked about this. And if that's the case, they're copying a show called Murder at the End of the World. I didn't want to give this away, but I'm going to give this away. If you hadn't seen it, you're not going to watch it. And if you have seen it, you'll be like, oh my God, that's what happened. AI is the fucking killer in that show. And it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. The show was it started off so promising and it ended so stupidly. And I really hope the writers learn from that show to not make Lester the robot the fucking killer. Like, I don't be cussing a lot anymore, but like, it just infuriates me. I think we're going to have to move Lester down by the next episode. I think Lester the robot's going to go to probably not. Like, he was around to witness stuff or record stuff, or like he knows stuff, but like I don't think he did it, but I'm going to leave him there until we can move him in a different direction. Romy, she's a little suspicious, especially after, did you hear that voice? We hear her voice in this episode. Did you hear the voice that I played from episode 2, the After You, when like you hear the person who's shooting the documentary on these doormen? Like, was that her? Like, it doesn't sound far off. I wouldn't say it's like 1 for 1, but it can't, I don't know. It can't be, it doesn't sound far off either. And each time the person uses the word, she uses the word city, and the word city is used in the other sentence. I don't know if you noticed that. You might want to play that back after you're done hearing me ramble on the suspect board. But yeah, that could be a thing. I'm just gonna put her there just because it's kind of a hype thing. But I just don't. If it was up to me, the mayor's coming down here, and these two are at the it is up to me. I'm gonna leave them. I'm gonna leave Thee, Randall, and Sophia Ketchumila. We're gonna move them to top suspect. The mayor, we're going to leave him at highly suspicious. Like, he's not out of the woodworks yet, but just like, it's almost like they're throwing it in your face that like he's the killer. And if he's the killer and it's that easy, good God, man. All right. I've just convinced all right. That's how it's going to be. We've got top suspect Thee, Randall, Sophia, and the mayor. Highly suspicious. We've got Lester Romy. We're not changing a thing about Baby. We're leaving Lorraine, Howard, the real Lester. We got the Ketchumilio boys, Teddy Demas. They're maybe, probably not. Loretta, George, Jay, Bash, and Camilla. No way. We've got our trio, and we've got Vince Fish. What do you think about this, right? Like, a lot of things at the top have changed after this episode, and I think rightfully so, just because there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of information that we got given in this episode. And yeah, I'm leaving it like this. And the reason also too, this episode took me a while to like just get on here and record and be like, I'm not 100%, but like I could do this, is because like there's just a missing link. Unlike last week's episode where I heard one thing and I was like, oh, this connects to this, this connects to that. There's something that's disconnecting about this episode. Not that I'm disconnected to the episode, but like information wise, where I'm like, there's like one piece of information that like it's going to draw this person to that person, this person to that. And we're going to hear it in this next episode. I went back to go watch episode 8 of season 2, episode 8, season 3, episode 8 of season 4. And there's like a 70% chance, 75, maybe. I don't want to say 80. I don't want to say 80, but it could be. But by like that episode, that you could tell who exactly the killer was, because they pointed the finger to an entirely different person. In episode 3, they pointed it to Loretta, right? And like they arrested her, and you're like, oh my God, it's going to be her. And it wasn't her. In season 4, episode 8, right? Like they're like, oh my God, she said the stunt person, Helga said the stunt person was going to be the death of her. And they point the camera onto, the stunt man, Paul Rudd as the stunt, I forget his name. Glenn, what is that? Glenn, right? Because Ben Glenroy was the actor, and so Glenn was the stunt guy, and it's him in a coma, and you're like, what? He was the killer, but we're only going in to episode 9, and you're like, well, no way, right? Anytime that they show you who the person is, it's never that person at the end of episode 8. It's always the opposite end. The person that they didn't show you, or you didn't see a lot of in that episode. It's always that person. So let's see in episode 8, who it points us to. How do you like the sport? How do you like what's going on? Let me know in the comments where you have everybody ranked. I would definitely want to hear from you. But y'all, that is this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being patient with me as I got this out to you. I again, under normal circumstances, this is coming out, Thursday, usually Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. I can have this out. I think one time I put it out on a Wednesday. I was just like, man, I was just on, I don't know, like on drinking all the Red Bulls and coffee, I just got it out. But like, yeah, I'm so sorry again, but thank y'all so much for people who have posted the nice things on the post that I posted. Thank y'all. I am trying to get better. I'm trying to get well. Also going through a little bit of like a little nasal congestion, but this too will pass. You know what I mean? It'll all be good. Everything's going to be fine. I'll keep you up to date as I'm doing better. But thank y'all for all the love, all the prayers, all the support, all the good thoughts. Again, if you guys want to order these little glasses, let me know in the comments, and then I'll get your Venmo. We'll trade off your addresses. I'll make sure these get out to you. I'd love to share, some of this merch that I'm starting to get for the channel to y'all, and I'd love for y'all to enjoy it as well. Especially we could all have a little cheers, a little toast moment by episode 10. I think that'd be great. So thank y'all for always tuning in, always showing love, liking, subscribing. All the comments. I just always appreciate it. It always warms my heart. Thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoy this. I will try and again get a comment episode out. Don't want to make any guarantees, but if I get some good comments in this episode, I'll just use these ones ahead of the next episode and see if at least I can do like 5 or 6 or something, just so that way I can get back to the normal cadence of life. I think that'd be great. But thank y'all for tuning in. Let me know any of your funniest moments, any theories. I want to hear everything from y'all. Any thoughts, any clues, anything I missed. Just shout me in the comments, and me, I'll reply back to you. Thank y'all for tuning in, even though it's a little later. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all who is a fan, who is a friend, who is somebody that I get to connect with every week. Just thank y'all very much. And like I always say, as we get close to the end, and as I go back to the Nerd Cave to get to editing and working on another video, thank y'all for tuning in, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon. I deeply appreciate it. And until the next episode, I will see ya. Peace.